What's happening, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Mar Report, where we'll be looking at the preview to our game against West Brom this weekend. And you've probably all looked outside, it's freezing. And the only thing colder than the weather right now is the treatment Donny van der Beek is having from his manager. And it seems like his teammates as well, because they're scared to pass the ball to him because they think that he is not trustable. Now, that might sound like an indictment on Donny, but I think the bigger picture is it's about the style of football. It doesn't suit Donny, where Solskjaer wants them to take responsibility, go looking for the ball, and he's a player based on technique, and it's about the system, and you find him in spaces, he finds you, and creates opportunities. That's how it works. So I wouldn't take too much into it. I think it says more about the manager and the teammates if this is true, but that's very disappointing to hear, especially with Pogba's injury. He would have been great this weekend to come in and in the starting 11, and when you compare the team that started the other night again in the FA Cup, I would have loved to see a few more people keep their positions. Starting in goal, Dean Henderson should start ahead of David De Gea after his mistakes against the Everton game. It makes no sense to me for him to come in, and at this point there's no difference between them. Now, I'm not saying Dean Henderson is a better goalkeeper long term, but at least one thing we all know is that he won't make the same mistakes that De Gea has been making, and we can be assured, and it should be a quiet evening for him because we know what Sam Allardyce does. He's a defensive coach. He'll stay low block. They'll spend most of the time in their own half, and we don't need to worry about our goalkeeper in this game. And if anything, they will get that odd one or two chances, and that's when the mistake could happen from De Gea, when the ball gets punted forward and he's left one-on-one with their striker. So I'd love to see Dean Henderson continue this weekend. I doubt that's going to happen. Another player that I would like to see is Telles ahead of Shaw. As much as the improvements Shaw has made over the last few weeks, months even, he still doesn't. He is good defensively, but on the attack, he still doesn't offer as much as Telles does. And I think again with a low block opposition like West Brom, who you got to remember they've lost 9 of their last home games, so there's no excuse, especially as we're 18 unbeaten away from home. So we should go for it. Shaw should be on the bench. A more forward player like Telles should be available so Rashford can get in the box and we can make most of Telles' crosses and set piece play. And then you go to the midfield. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Pogba's out, so you'd think that's a great opportunity for Donny to come in, but unfortunately I'm sure we're going to see Fred in that McFred double snooze fest we saw the other night. And he's going to be cautious, they're going to not take chances, and we're going to just see another very long-winded, boring game instead of the United taking the initiative, adding more offensive players. We need somebody like Donny to unlock their defence, who are going to be, as I mentioned, low, tight, and then we're not going to get anything through. It's going to be difficult. So we need somebody like Telles, we need somebody like Donny to come in and break down their attack. And I just don't see how we do that with Luke Shaw and Fred in the starting 11. Now I know the rest of the front three, the mid three, picks itself. Though I would love to see Diallo in for Greenwood, because I don't think Greenwood's going to get an opportunity up front. And while he does do a good job on the side and the wings, overall he's a striker and he needs to be given the opportunity at the front. But at the moment it's hard with Cavani and the form he's in, and Martial, who's coming back to some form. Speaking of Cavani and Martial, ideally we would want Cavani up front because he's been the man in form. Martial still finding his feet. He had a good game last game, but again, when we're playing a team that's going to defend low block, our chances might be minimal. We need an experienced striker to come in and make the most of it. And the few chances he gets, he needs to make the most of it. Otherwise, it could be a long game, and potentially a bad loss on the counter. So these are the players I would like to see in. I don't see that happening. I think Ollie will play it safe. He's going to bring in. He's going to keep. He's going to keep Fred in there. He's going to bring back Shaw. He's definitely not giving. We might see Donny later on, but fortunately, this is going to be another snooze fest, as I said, and it's going to be a difficult game, and that's only because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to make it that way. Hopefully, we'll win. Hopefully, it won't be a complete bore as the other night, but we'll have to wait and see. Thank you.